Hey guys, I'm Emma Ryan, Integrative Nutrition Health Coach and founder and owner of Plant. Today we are making crispy chickpea tofu. It's quick, it's delicious, it's easy to add to a salad or a wrap or a bowl, and I'm currently obsessed with it. So here we are. So if you've ever made tofu before, it's the same thing, but because Plant is soy-free, we're using a chickpea tofu. And it looks very similar, but it's just made from chickpeas instead of soybeans. And you can do this recipe with either one, whichever one you prefer. So I'm going to start by getting my tofu out of the package here, and I'm just going to put it on my cutting board. If you do try the chickpea tofu, you'll see that it has quite a different texture compared to tofu. It's not quite as airy. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this into strips. You can do big strips, little strips, whatever you prefer. And then I'll go ahead and do some cubes. The trick to this is to make it crispy. We're actually going to coat it in baking powder. So I'm going to go ahead and just toss all of my tofu cubes in this bowl. And I made like larger strips. You can do it however you prefer, whatever shape or size you like. Move my cutting board out of the way here. So I have my block of chickpea tofu. I have about 2 tablespoons of baking powder. I'm gonna just toss this on it. Oh, I made a mess, but that's okay. I have about a teaspoon of black pepper, another teaspoon of salt, and then I actually have a teaspoon of ground garlic powder. You can omit the garlic if you don't love garlic. I absolutely adore garlic. You could change this to onion. You could add red chili flakes if you want it spicy, anything like that. So I'm just gonna toss these all together. You want the tofu to be pretty well coated in the baking powder. All right, and I'm gonna set this to the side and I'll bring out my induction burner. All right, so I'm gonna get my induction burner going and I'm gonna turn it up to high heat, so you might hear a little bit of a humming sound. And I'm actually using about 1/4 cup of toasted sesame oil. I love sesame oil. You could do this with olive oil or something else, but I do recommend the sesame oil. And I want this oil to get up to a really high temperature. I'm gonna get this really hot, and then we'll fry our tofu. All right, so we have some really hot oil right here, our toasted sesame oil, and we have our coated chickpea tofu. So I'm just gonna toss this in the pan. And let that start to cook. So the baking powder will help coat the edges and make it crispy. So we're just gonna let this cook for a couple of minutes, and I'll kind of toss it as we go to make sure it gets cooked on all sides. All right, so you can see we have crispy chickpea tofu. I'm going to just pour this into a dish that's lined with some paper towels so it'll absorb any excess oil. So once it was completely cooked, the liquid was gone, I dumped it out of the pan into a dish that was lined with paper towels, as you can see here. I'm gonna let this absorb any excess liquid. You could also put it on a cooling rack to cool. Either way, you want this to cool down, it'll crisp up even more, and then it's ready to go. So serve it on a bowl, put it on a Caesar salad or in a wrap, anything like that. But I love adding this crispy tofu to my meals. The other night I made an Asian dish with broccoli and rice, bok choy, things like that. It's a great addition. Be sure to let me know what you think of this. Tell us what you're looking for in the future. Subscribe, comment below, and I'll see you next time.